I've been hearing a lot of chatter about this Cleveland Browns season. Been hearing a lot of chatter about Deshaun Watson, hearing a lot of chatter about draft picks, hearing a bunch of chatter about who the Browns need to draft and what other quarterback, and if you're moving with Jameis Winston, and is that going to be something that the Cleveland Browns are going to be able to do? Are we going to put DTR in the game? Let me just tell you something. And the only way G. Bush can break it down. You better be you better be careful what you ask for. And all of that prognostication, I'm going to give you the worst case scenario for what everybody seems to be begging for. And I'm going to just keep it with a buck. It ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. We come back, we'll talk about it right here on The Barbershop. Shout out to everybody, man. Listen, man, who's showing love right now. I've been in a lot of different places. I've been all over the place. I'm on Bleacher Report. I'm on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I'm doing Ultimate Browns. I'm doing the Barbershop on the weekends on 92.3 The Fan. I'm everywhere. But you know what? Something hit me and something dawned on me. And it just hit me and it was just because I was checking out the comments from the last show that we did, the pre and post game show. And what I realized is that people, my true core audience, they love when I get in my bag and we can talk like this in just open format. And so what I got to do is I got to start feeding the streets again, man. I got to start feeding that fan base. And so I want to appreciate you guys. Y'all know that I'll be doing a lot of other work on a lot of other platforms, and you guys support me on any platform that I'm on. But really, really, to be truthful, I don't post that often on here. And when I do post, y'all just show up and y'all show love and y'all click on the videos and you watch it all the way through and you comment and you subscribe. And I don't even lose subscribers because that's just how down y'all is and how what a great relationship that we do have with the people over here. So what I want to do is I want to start feeding the street. I'm going to try to do a video a week over here and just my thoughts in the format that you guys love. Is just me and you talking and vibing and talking that real talk. So that's what the barbershop is about. And sometimes you got to get back to your roots. So I want to thank you and I want to get into this video. So, the Cleveland Browns right now, there's been a bunch of talk about the Deshaun Watson discourse. And right now, again, the fan base is divided in terms of Deshaun Watson, what he is and what he ain't, and whose fault is it? Is he worth the money? All this talk. But I don't think the people that's on the other side of the spectrum understand what it is they're insinuating and what it is that they're rooting for. Because I was on Twitter and I literally had fans sitting here trying to justify the poor offensive line play, trying to justify why guys up front don't seem to be blocking or catching their assignments and doing what they need to be doing to make this football team successful and doing their damn jobs, is because somehow G. Bush, they just don't like him. They don't like him. They don't like Deshaun. That's why they're playing like that. First and foremost, man, comments like that make me not even want to talk and interact with some of these novice dudes. Like, for you to even insinuate that's even an option in professional football shows me that you have a lack of knowledge in the way things go. Let me tell you about this league. You fighting for your family's opportunity to continue to stay in the league, and you feeding your family. You making a lot of money, and it's a highly competitive league. And for you to insinuate that somebody is up there letting their quarterback get hit on purpose because they don't like him is absurd. It's ridiculous. And obviously, you're telling on yourself, because it's not that the players don't like him. It's that you don't like him. And you continually come up with this crazy rhetoric and run-of-the-mill stuff. And I don't know if you guys feel like if you just keep saying it loud enough, I don't know, maybe Deshaun, he's not worth the money. We need to get another quarterback. We could have Flacco and Baker. We could have, listen, There was nobody who championed Flacco more than me. When people, from a football standpoint, I was the one out of everybody in the industry that said, you need to go get Joe Flacco because he's going to give you a better chance to win in DTR. See, I call balls and strikes. I could care less about this stuff. People is playing these little back and forth culture wars about who they want at quarterback. Y'all can have all that. I'm trying to win that trophy. And the bottom line is, if you think that somehow Deshaun Watson is the biggest problem for the Cleveland Browns, you're mistaken. You are lost in the soup. And if you think Joe Flacco or Baker Mayfield is going to hoist that trophy, you're also mistaken. They moved on from him for a reason. And let me just give you this. Sometimes you got to ask, do you want better in terms of the league, or you want better than what you just had? Because that's the commentary that you have when you start talking about Baker and Flacco. Like, yeah, you want to revert back to what you had, but what you had wasn't good enough to start with. Let me remind you, you got smoked by the Texans. Let me remind you that every time Kevin Stefanski goes against a solid team, his offense looks like what? And we're not even going against solid teams right now, and his offense looks like what? But that's not the case of this story. That's not the story we're telling, boys and girls. We're going to give you what a lot of you guys are undercover asking for, right? A lot of you are asking for. I've had brethren in the media. We've seen enough. We have to cut bait. We've seen enough of the experiment. We may have to look at Jameis Winston. We may have to tank for Quinn Ewers. We may need to lose some games for said quarterback. I don't know who do you plan on taking for this year? I've been watching college football. Ain't nobody jumped off the page and stole my heart so far. Hey, Jalen Milroe. Oh my gosh. I just saw Milroe lose his job to bums last year. Let me tell you about running quarterbacks in the NFL. He looks great right now. But let me tell you about what you guys are talking about and what you guys are trying to warm yourself up to. You're trying to warm yourself up and saying, this season is done. We're going to go in the draft and draft somebody. This season is done. We've seen enough of Deshaun Watson. He ain't worth the money. We're going to put Jameis Winston there. This season is finished, and we're going to see what DTR has to offer. This season is finished. We're going to move on from said quarterback here and move on to something else out there. Let me tell y'all something. Be careful what you wish for. There's this guy named Joe Thomas, right? And I'm lucky enough to be able to, text and reach out to Joe Thomas, not saying that we best of friends or anything, or I got him on speed dial, but from time to time, I'm able to hit him up and talk to him about offensive line play, defensive line play, and just rap, right? And that's a blessing to have a Hall of Famer like that you can reach out to bounce things off of, man. Joe's a solid dude. He ain't never tried to big time nobody. Anybody he meet, he just down to earth, man. Him and Bernie is to the Browns legends. That's pros, guys, them dudes. Leroy is in that camp too. DeQuell Jackson is in that camp. You know what I'm saying? When I was a young dude getting in the industry, these dudes is like, you can big time somebody. I came off the couch, but these dudes are solid. To be able to text back and forth and talk football is a privilege. So when I talk to Joe Thomas and I ask him every time I see him, I say, yo, Joe, what would you take? Would you take that championship ring, a Super Bowl ring, or would you take the gold jacket? And, he always, without a shadow of doubt, says, listen, G. Bush, the biggest honor in the world is to be in that small room with them greats looking around, with the Munozes of the world, with the Mike Websters of the world, with the Jonathan Ogdens of the world, guys over there, the Orlando Paces. It's a privilege to be even in that pantheon of those guys. He said, but you know why we play. You played the game. You know why we play this game. And you play the game to win championships. You play the game. You don't put that time, energy, effort, and work in when you got torn muscles and ligaments, and you don't see your family, and you can't eat your food because your wrist and your hands are so beat up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't play the game for your brothers that put them same colors on to go out here and have individual accolades. And one of the biggest shames in the world, and he talks about it all the time, is, when he puts it on the table that the Denver Broncos had on the table the year that they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. They had the trade on the table, had it ready to go. And Joe Thomas said, nah. He said, nah, I'm gonna start what I finished. And you know how much integrity that take? And then you hear people like Johnny Manziel that come out and was wasting that man's time. You hear guys like Mike Holmgren that was wasting that man's time. Hugh Jackson wasting that man's time. All these guys that was playing around, all the bootleg quarterbacks, the Hoyers, the Manziels, the Whedons, all of those guys. And Joe Thomas was out there wasting the prime of his career playing for the doggone Cleveland Browns, and they wasn't even serious about winning. He went through a 1-31 stretch where every single week you and I knew that the Cleveland Browns had no opportunity or shot to win. They tore it down to the studs. And why did we tear it down to the studs? To have the opportunity to draft guys like Myles Garrett, number 1 overall, like Baker Mayfield, number 1 overall, like Denzel Ward, number 4 overall, like Nick Chubb with a 2nd round pick, like David Njoku with a 1st round pick, Joe Bitonio. You lose those games and you lost people's prime in order for those people to pay it forward. And even when he had the opportunity to jump ship, because I would have respected him if he would have jumped, he still didn't do it. He went down knowing he was never going to be able to play in one single playoff game. Never saw the postseason, never sniffed it. And he sacrificed his career, sacrificed his health, and he did it because he believed in a higher level of integrity. And now, because of Joe Thomas's sacrifice, we are able to watch a player of Myles Garrett's talent level. We're able to see a Denzel Ward. But we also see what happens when you miss at number 1. And the truth is, you missed at number 1 with Baker Mayfield. And when you miss at that position, there's consequences. You passed over Josh Allen. You passed over Lamar Jackson. We got fans that want to dip back and talk about Baker Mayfield when the obvious is right in front of your face. You missed. 2-time NFL MVP, Lamar Jackson, transcendent player. Josh Allen, transcendent player. 6'5", 6'6", both can run, both can throw, both can do the best. And you got to see them in your division. But somehow we still got people running around trying to dip back talking about what we had. Do you know that Joe Flacco didn't win the championship for the Browns? He won it for the Ravens. And I'm not disrespecting Joe Flacco. What all I'm saying to you is this. Your priorities are messed up. See, you would rather lose with people you identify with than win with people you might not see eye to eye with. See, this is why you ain't got no regular show, G. Bush. This is why you got to do blogs on the internet. You can't be on 5 days a week and talk real like that. See, that's the reality in NFL. It's about winning and losing on your own terms. And a lot of people are willing to lose and willing to do it with things that they're okay with. But right now, they don't identify with what Deshaun Watson is picking up or putting down. Regardless of allegations, regardless of how he play, they want him going. Well, let me tell you something, boys and girls. Let me go back to the first part of the narrative. Remember I was talking about be careful what you wish for? Because the second you take Deshaun Watson out of the game and you put Jameis Winston in, there's no going back. It's not no going back. We've seen this. When Baker Mayfield name was mentioned when they went after Deshaun Watson. Did Baker Mayfield show back up for Cleveland? He said, "No, I'm good. I'm having surgery. Goodbye. This is my last." He put the letter out. This is my. I wish you best of luck. So when you decide that you are going to move on from Deshaun Watson after I think it's 14 games and terrible offensive line and a jacked up offensive playbook and receivers like Amari Cooper not catching the rock and all that good stuff, and the defense not playing with their, then you signal it's over. He's not going back into the game. Now the clock starts ticking. You got to deal with what? Your cap space, the dead cap move. You got to deal with the salary that you've been punting downfield for, I don't know, the last 2-3 years. And then you're going to say, well, what are we going to do? We're going to figure out what we got in DTR. I like DTR. I gave him his nickname almost. Like I kind of was on that Kool-Aid Mafia trip with DTR. But let's be clear, boys and girls. If DTR plan is what you're moving to next, guys like the guy at the bottom right-hand corner of this screen, you think they're going to deal with that? Because here's the thing. Myles Garrett's not going to waste his career like Joe Thomas did. No. That's not a thing. Myles Garrett's not going to waste his career like Joe Thomas did, right? And right now, Myles Garrett, for the first time in his life, is dealing with those injuries and dealing with those nagging injuries that don't heal up because you're 22 years old and you're a freak of nature. Dealing with those injuries for the first time where you got to spend more time in the training room every single day to get your body right. He's still out here getting 2 sacks against the Raiders, nobody else showing up. For 5 to 7 years, we've been asking for the same questions. When is Myles Garrett? When are you going to work with Myles? When you going to get another dude to go opposite of Myles? When you going to get somebody to work with him? Guess what? Mike Hall Jr. not working out so far. I don't know if he gonna play, period. He on that exempt list. You already know what that is. We tried Olivier Vernon. We tried Emmanuel Ogbah. We tried Jadeveon Clowney. We tried Alex Wright. We tried Zadarius Smith. We continue to keep trying guys opposite of Myles Garrett, and he keeps getting triple teamed and grading out the highest in PFF. He's a transitional, generational type player. He is transcendent at his position. He's the best defensive player the Browns have ever had. And I'm letting you know right now, if you're hoping for the whole experiment with Deshaun Watson not to work, well, goodbye. Get ready for that domino to fall too. Why would Myles Garrett hang around here and sit there after he was here for the 1-31 rebuild to sit and watch you draft Quinn Ewers? He's gonna love tanking this year and not making the playoffs and looking around after you've promised a new offense in 3 years and you've got nothing but the same old stale playbook. Why would he sit around and wait? You ever notice something? Myles Garrett, out of all these other people that can get these new extensions, and Myles Garrett's defensive player of the year, and he's probably the best defensive player in the game, why out of all the people for the Cleveland Browns haven't they extended Myles Garrett? They extended Bitonio. They restructured Teller. They gave Conklin some new money. All the fifth-year option guys, Jed Wills and Newsome, got bread. Heck, JOK just got a bag of money. Grant Delpit got paid. Even Mark Cooper got a slight bump. You don't want to agree with it. Hey, Jerry Jeudy got some money too. Restructured Nick Chubb. Ask yourself, David Njoku why out of all the people, Myles Garrett hasn't stood up and said, I need to be the highest defensive player in the game right now. I should be the highest paid defender. And he should. Well, maybe he's actually waiting to see. I'm waiting to see what y'all do. Let's see how y'all work this year. Let's see how you work this quarterback situation. Let's see if y'all get me some people. Let's see how competitive we are 2 years in a row. Let's see if the organization is serious about winning. And through 4 games, it looks like you're not serious. You're still talking about Kevin Stefanski calling plays. You're still talking about Deshaun Watson ain't worth the money. Well, if Deshaun Watson's not worth the money and Deshaun Watson's not the quarterback moving forward, and that means that's a rebuild, well, guess what? Myles Garrett will not be here for that one, boys and girls. And there's no sense in getting mad. There's no sense in sitting around talking about, well, I mean, he left our team high and dry. He left us here. He didn't really want to be here. We want people that want. No, we want competent football. We want winning football. And we want people that understand that we're not sitting around here being mediocre, wasting our lives. How many of you gave something to Joe Thomas? Joe Thomas got nothing for his allegiance and loyalty. In fact, you took it in vain. You took his whole sacrifice in vain. He sacrificed all them years to get the players we got now. And you want to punt on that again. You want to punt again. You punted on his career, but you want to punt again after he sacrificed to get the guys to get contenders so we can get Quinn Ewers. Milrow. You think Myles Garrett gives a you know what about Milrow? Huh? As soon as that reset button hits is the second he hits that open market. And would you and guess what? If you're the Browns, you're listening, right? See, when I do blogs, I put it all together. That's the difference. You know, a lot of y'all cats don't know, man. You checking this blog out right now. See, I've been working on my game. You know what I'm saying? You got to tell stories the right way. It all has to come together. It's like a pot gumbo. You have to little this, a little that. But here's the thing. Why the thumbnail? Why the thumbnail? Why you got him talking to Michael Parsons? I think it's just very easy if you're a thinking man. Myles Garrett just happens to grow up in the great state of Texas, happens to grow up watching the Cowboys, and they happen to have a team that is built on going all in. The highest paid quarterback in Dak Prescott, a bona fide top 5 highest paid receiver in CD Lamb. And a generational type pass rusher themselves on the opposite end, Michael Parsons. You see, he can go back to Dallas and get everything that he couldn't get here. Quarterback, check. Wide receiver, bona fide playmaker, check. A guy on the opposite side of him that you can't double team or double team Myles Garrett, check. And one of the most devastating lines of all time, check. And the biggest market and the biggest team, check. You think that's worth 2 first-round picks? I think that's the going rate. If Andrew Berry was smart, I want 2 1s and a 2. See what I'm picking up? See what I'm picking up and putting down? And if Myles Garrett is going for that, why would I then need Denzel Ward? A little older, injury prone, makes a lot of money. I'm pretty sure a contender would love Denzel Ward. How about you pair him with one of the best corners or another corner out there that really can get it done? We wouldn't trade him in the division. Of course not. We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't want the Joe Hayden thing to come back and hit us in the face. I digress. But why wouldn't you be a contender out there that's looking to get a corner that's willing to shut down the whole other side of the field? Why wouldn't the San Francisco 49ers look at something like that? Why wouldn't you be the Green Bay Packers looking at something like that? Another bona fide guy out there to shut it down. What can you get for him? And if you're Joe Bitonio, why Myles Garrett is out, Denzel Ward is out, I done lost 2 steps anyway. Why would I even think about coming back? That's already zipped up. Mari Cooper is already basically out the door. after they knew he wasn't going to have a contract. Elijah Moore is out the door. They're not going to extend him. Greg Newsome, you got your spot taken by a fourth-round corner who can't run, and Martin Emerson. Are you really going to pay Martin Emerson? Are you really going to play Greg Newsome? Are you really bringing Juan Thornhill back? We haven't seen him in weeks. So the only guys you got left on the defense is JOK, who you just signed, and Grant Delpit. I'm not saying it's to scare nobody. I'm not out here trying to sell wolf tickets. I'm not out here for clickbait. This is a natural progression. This blog has been for all of the, I hope Deshaun Watson does this. I wish the Cleveland Browns do this. Can't we go back and get Baker? Can we get Flacco? We need to see what's in Jameis Winston. Jameis give us a good chance to win. Let me tell y'all something, boys and girls. Y'all can say all that you want to, and I'm not source guy. I'm not a dude that throws the names around and sources and all that good stuff. But let me tell you this. I know for a fact. Yeah. Go ahead and start tanking. Go ahead and start losing these games. Go ahead and have the team look disinterested. And I'm telling you right now, Myles Garrett will not be here for none of that smoke. And guess what? I'm all for it. I watched Joe Thomas get his career wasted by incompetence. And I'm not going to sit here and watch Myles Garrett put the best years of his life in this organization, and we still have the fan base screaming at the top of their lungs about quarterbacks and getting and tanking for some random 18 to 24-year-old dude who ain't never winning no championship in the next 6 to 7 years. I wasted my time with 1-31. We wasted our energy with 1-31. And even when we went 1-31, we still got the number one pick and we still missed. And for those who say Deshaun Watson, we spent 3 first-round picks. And guess what? As of now, people saying we still missed. So what kind of faith do you have in this front office who hasn't drafted one receiver that's worth anything, who hasn't drafted a lineman that's worth anything, who has no playmakers on the offensive side of the football that they drafted that are worth anything? What makes you feel so trustful and Dee Podesta and Andrew Berry and Stefanski that they can go get anybody with the picks that they get for said Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, or whoever they fire or sell off for pieces and parts? This is the worst case scenario. And to be honest with you guys, we're already quarter way through the season. We're on game number 5. And in game number 5, we don't have anything going for us that looks positive. Coaching, culture, none of it. None of it. Quarterbacks don't grow on trees. Quarterbacks in development doesn't happen overnight. You've regressed at multiple positions. And now we're in week 5 and we're playing Jaden Daniels. And he looks like he's trying to be the rookie of the year. We got embarrassed by the Raiders. But let me tell you something. That look that Myles Garrett got on his face, it don't come from just being hurt. It comes from thinking long and hard. And if you're the Dallas Cowboys, I'd run to the podium with 2 picks. Which ones you want? With Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett in Dallas? That is box. Oh. And Myles Garrett got enough cachet to do it. I ain't playing for nobody but Dallas. Get it done. That's what happens when you don't be on the barbershop in a while. You just get some thoughts and you start dropping content. You already know what it is.